Hi, I'm Christina, and this is a book review of The It Girl by Ruth Ware. So this is a mystery novel and it was published in 2022, and this is my third book by this author. I've also read The Lying Game and The Turn of the Key. So this one is set in Oxford and in Edinburgh, and it's told in dual timelines. So our main character is called Hannah, and in the past we are following her as it is her very first day at the University of Oxford, and she meets her roommate who is called April, and she is the it girl in this story. And then sometime in their very first year at university, April is murdered and Hannah is the one who finds her body. And then in the present day, it's 10 years later, and April is now living in Edinburgh, and she is married and she is pregnant and she's working in a bookshop, and she's very much trying to kind of live a normal life, if you will. But it has been 10 years since April's death, and the person who is in prison for her murder is called John Neville. He was one of the porters at the university, and he has just died in prison. Now, the whole time he's been in prison, he's been protesting his innocence, and it's basically Hannah's evidence that sends him to prison. So that's kind of the setup where we're at. So obviously in the past we're following both Hannah and April, and then in the present we're following Hannah, and she's actually married to one of their kind of friends who is at university called Will. So when you're kind of in this university setting, they have a relatively close-knit kind of friendship group, and that consists of 3 girls and 3 boys. So we have April and Hannah and Emily, and then we also have Will and Hugh and Ryan, and we're just kind of following them basically. I think Hugh and Will know each other from their kind of boarding school, and April knows Will and Hugh through one of her exes or something. I think they were both at boarding schools, and it was the one they kind of, met at. So they kind of have a, prior kind of relationship with each other. And then Hannah doesn't know anybody at all, and I don't think Emily knows any of them either. So we're just following this little group of people as they're basically just starting university. I thought the setting of Oxford University was excellent. I guess you could say it has that kind of dark academia vibes in the sense that, it's set at a university. And I do think the atmosphere is really good. I have visited Oxford once, and I do think she does a good portrayal of the place of Oxford. And then obviously the other setting is Edinburgh, which is where Hannah now lives. So I don't want to tell you too much about the plot, in the sense that it is a mystery novel and we know who has died. We know that immediately, it's April, but we don't know who has killed her. So it's a classic whodunit, essentially. We're just trying to find out who killed April, and yes, somebody is in prison for her murder, but now Hannah is kind of doubting herself and basically trying to figure out who killed April. So the majority of the story is kind of a amateur sleuthing by Hannah, if you will, trying to figure out what happened to her best friend and who did it. She has been convinced it was this man who she gave evidence against, called John Neville, always, but she's been having some kind of niggling doubts. And then a journalist kind of approaches her with some new kind of evidence in his opinion. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything else about the plot. So I won't tell you anything else about the plot. That's all you need to know. And I thought it was pretty good. I gave it 4 stars. Now, it's not a high 4-star. It's a very, very low 4-star. And I only want to kind of give that caveat in the sense that I gave The Lying Game 3 stars, and it was good. I remember enjoying it, but it's not kind of lasted with me through time. I remember very little of the book, to be honest. It's been quite a few years since I've read it. And then I gave The Turn of the Key 4 stars, and I thought that one was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. But I know it's based on the classic The Turn of the Screw. So I didn't give it 5 stars because, if that makes sense, but maybe in hindsight I should have given it 5 stars. I did very much enjoy it, but I think I had a couple of little things that just stopped it being a 5-star. But what I'm trying to say is I think The Turn of the Key is much better than this book, The It Girl. So the fact that I've given that one a 4-star, it's a very, very high 4-star, which is why I want to say that this one is a very, very low 4-star. So I was kind of deciding between 3 and 4, but it's definitely worth more than a 3-star. So that's why it's a low 4, just to explain that. So yeah, I think the settings are good. I think the characters are good. I liked the kind of building of the friendships, and also seeing that there's some animosity between these friends. They're not like true friends. There's lots of other things going on here. And April was very well known for pranking people. She was a big prankster, and obviously perhaps that had some kind of impact on what happened to her, etc. So yeah, and I think looking at the two girls as well, they were very different kind of girls. So April, as the It Girl, she's from a very wealthy family. She has loads of, designer clothes, designer shoes, designer handbags, and she's very, very beautiful. Everyone thinks she's gorgeous, and she's very kind of charismatic, very witty. Everybody kind of, likes her, but also at the same time, lots of people really, really dislike her because she's not always the kindest of people. And all of the pranking, obviously, lots of people don't like that. And then you have Hannah, on the other hand, who's kind of a much more of a normal kind of girl, I would say, in the sense that she's more like your girl next door kind of trope, in the sense that she's kind of from a normal kind of working class family. I think it's a single parent household. She's not from a really, really wealthy family who's gone to a brilliant boarding school. She's gone to state school. So they're quite different girls, but they become the best of friends as such, and they really kind of get on with each other. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought the characters were good, and I thought the mystery was good in the sense that Ruth Ware always writes a good mystery. It's not going to be the best mystery novel you've ever read, and it's not going to be like the best written book you've ever read, but she's really good at kind of keeping you guessing and honestly making you question absolutely everyone, I think, throughout this story. And she's so good at that. I was like pretty sure it was one person, and then she'd make you question another person, and then another person, and then another person. And I don't think there was actually a main character in here that you actually wouldn't question, did they do it? And she kind of leads you through all of these different red herrings, and she, puts some ideas in your head and plants some seeds, and you're sitting there going, oh, maybe it was that person, maybe it was that person, maybe it was that person. So yes, it's one of those books where you're reading through it and you will literally question everybody who has kind of more than, has more than a name in the book. You'll be like, oh, it could have been him, it could have been her, it could have been him. And I do think she's very, very good at that. And I do like that about it. She's probably one of the best kind of mystery novel authors I've read for genuinely making you suspect lots of different characters. I think there's been times when, people try and push you down the garden path, like, oh, it could have been this person. You're like, no, but it can't because, this, and you're like plot holes and stuff. And you're like, it couldn't feasibly be all of these people. But the way she does this one, you do start to doubt things and go, oh, it could have been that person. It could have been that person. So to go on the, not to give any spoilers at all, but in terms of the ending and who the killer actually was, I did not guess it at all. I was very, very surprised. Now, obviously, as we were leading up to it, I absolutely knew who we were going for and who it was going to be. But in terms of reading throughout the book, I was genuinely shocked at who the killer was, which is excellent. And I'm not going to tell you why I was shocked because obviously spoilers, but in my head, I absolutely would not have guessed it was that person, like, at all. So that was good. And I do think that kind of feeling that I was suspecting so many people, and like every kind of 50 pages, like, that person did it, and then it's like, no, that person did it, and then another 50, that person did it. So yeah, she really makes you question, she really makes you think, she really makes you just question everybody at some stage. And I do like that about it, and I think her writing's good. it definitely it just makes me want to keep reading. So I literally would read a couple of chapters and I just keep flipping. It's a very, very readable book in my opinion. I would say that it's very slow. It's a very slow burn mystery. It's a very slow paced kind of novel. If you're not into kind of slow paced novels, slow burns, I'm not sure it would be your cup of tea, because it is very, very slow, and it's also quite long. I'd say probably a little too long, and I think it's sometimes the pacing gets very, very slow. So it is genuinely a slow paced mystery. It's a slow burn, but it gets very slow at some parts. So just if that's something you're not really into, something to be aware of. But I enjoyed it. I'm quite happy to read a nice slow burn, slow paced mystery. That's completely right up my street. So for me, the pacing wasn't bad as such. It was a little bit slow sometimes, like, come on, we need to keep it going. And obviously with her being pregnant in the present day, there's lots of kind of things in terms of her going to appointments and things, and her working in the bookshop. Like a couple of times when we could have moved it on a little bit, but not to negatively affect it too much. I think that's the kind of stuff that stopped it being a 5-star, to be honest. Maybe if it was about 100 pages shorter or the pacing was a little bit faster, it could have been a 5-star. But no, for me, it's a good, solid 4-star. Very much enjoyed it. Very readable book. I think that's what I would say. It's very, very readable, very easy to keep flipping those pages. And the characters are decent. I think the mystery was decent. The whodunit was good. I did not guess it was that person, and that's always good. And yeah, she made me question absolutely everybody in this book. I was pretty convinced it was quite a few people throughout the time. So yeah, it's good. I would recommend it. Now, in terms of, you know, ranking other Ruth Ware books, my absolute favourite is definitely The Turn of the Key. Brilliant book. If you haven't read it, I would recommend it. It is better than this one, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a better book, better characters, it is just better. And the other one, The Lying Game, I did enjoy it. It's been quite a few years since I've read it. I remember enjoying it at the time, and perhaps I was being a little bit tight with my ratings. Honestly, it's probably on par with this one. I think if I was to amend my ratings, you know, in retrospect, I would have given that one a 4-star too, but a very low 4-star, just like this. But I think it was worth more than a 3. But I did get through a stage of being quite tight with my ratings. So yeah, good book. Would recommend it. If you're looking for a good mystery novel with a good whodunit, something just to keep you guessing, keep you reading, with decent characters, good settings, you know, if you're interested in Edinburgh, Oxford, she does them well. And yeah, just a really good whodunit. If that's what you're looking for, a slow pace, slow burn mystery, I think you will enjoy this one. So I'm definitely going to be reading more by Ruth Ware. I wasn't 100% sure about reading one by one. I've heard quite a lot of bad reviews, and that was the one that she released before this one. And she's also got a book out more recently called 0 Days. I think out of all of them now, I'm most excited to read 0 Days. I was going to read that one before this one, but then this one came in the library first. Oh no, I just saw it. I was just walking around the library and I saw it on the shelves and I thought, go on then, I'm going to pick it up. So yes, I think the next one I will read will be 0 Days. And I do have The Death of Mrs. Westaway on my bookshelves. And I don't think I'm as interested in reading her earlier books. So In a Dark, Dark Wood and The Woman in Cabin 10. I've heard a lot of kind of more negative things about her earlier books. So yeah, I read the third one, The Lying Game. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed The Turn of the Key. So yes, I think I will read 0 Days next. So thank you so much for watching. Please do like the video if you've liked it, and please do subscribe if you'd like to hear more of me talking about books. And if you have read this book, I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're gonna read it now, definitely let me know that too. And if you've read any of the other books by Ruth Ware that I haven't read, definitely let me know if you think I should pick them up. Even the earlier ones, to be honest. If you really like one of the earlier ones, the In a Dark, Dark Wood and The Woman in Cabin 10, let me know. And if you think I should prioritise The Death of Mrs. Westaway, definitely let me know that too. So yeah, see you in my next one. Bye.